Good evening, welcome to Business on Joy News Prime. Now, the IMF has prevailed on government to do more in finding a lasting solution to the energy sector debt, which currently stands at $2.4 billion. The fund wants government to find more innovative means of restructuring the $2.4 billion debt, despite the progress made so far with the energy sector levy.
The IMF wants government to find more innovative means of restructuring the $2.4 billion debt, despite the progress made so far with the energy sector levy introduced last year. This, it says, remains critical to the country's efforts to achieving the targeted economic stability and growth. The IMF mission chief to Ghana, Annalisa Fidelino, spoke to Joy Business after the team's latest visit to the country to review the health of the economy and the program.
In our view, the immediate priority is to ensure fiscal discipline by bringing down the deficit to a level that is sufficient to reverse the unfavorable debt dynamics. Continued fiscal consolidation would also facilitate ongoing disinflation and anchor confidence. There is a need to bring fiscal discipline to the SOEs, to the state-owned enterprises, as I said, especially in the utility sector. The Energy Sector Levy Act, the ESLA, introduced in 2016, has helped banks and the SOEs restructure the debt, but the debt of the sector continues to grow, and this can eventually undermine the efforts that are ongoing to restructure the debt and may require additional government support.
The IMF, after its latest review, gave Ghana a fair assessment and challenged government to work towards reducing the public debt and restoring macroeconomic stability. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta believes government remains committed to this bid.
When you have a 70% and change debt to GDP ratio, nobody is to tell you what to do. And it is a painful exercise to extricate yourself from it. But I think with the fund as a partner, we'll manage that exit in a way in which we don't compromise growth and private sector development, but at the same time never take our eye off the general issues of macroeconomic stability in general and fiscal and debt sustainability. Debt sustainability, of course, will be anchored on significant reduction of the fiscal deficit in the near term. But I think what is crucial going forward is our own clarity on our medium-term plan, in which we have to put energy into it, write it out so that we are clear on the direction we are going in terms of where our debt to GDP ratio should be, what is a sustainable deficit and or surplus that we need. But always trying to get a positive primary balance. Without that, it's debt upon debt.
Government has already indicated its commitment to complete the IMF program within the best time frame.
So, after months of speculations, government is giving indication that it would complete the IMF program within time. The $918 million program is aimed at stabilizing government's finances and restoring rapid economic growth. Meanwhile, we are getting indication there may not be a firm conclusion on extension. Earlier, I spoke to my colleague, George Rafi, who has been following closely this story. I started by seeking clarification on whether or not government has agreed to extend the program.
Now, there are certain targets that have been set in the IMF program. Because of certain challenges, it looks like all those targets might not be able to be implemented within the deadline that has been given. And that is why for those people who are following the program, they are saying that it is right for government to indeed make a request and extend the program. So during the recent visit to Ghana, the mission came, there was a press conference. I mean, there was still back and forth about whether the program will be extended or not. The finance minister said, I mean, as we speak now, the decision is that they are working to end the program.
But doesn't that mean that government has made up its mind to, stick within the time frame?
We're trying to collect a lot of dots here. Now, if you look at the things that government is supposed to do, we are in 2017. They are now doing Article 4, which should have been done in 2014. There's supposed to be a fourth review. They are not through with that one. Now, each review, a completion of each review comes with disbursement of funds. We are not done we've done Article 4 now. We are yet to complete the fourth review. We are yet to complete the fifth review. Now, there are certain structural reforms that should take place. All these things have not been done. So you ask yourself whether government wants to get out of the program or implement all these things for the completion of the program. And if you look at the dynamics here, it looks like all those things need to happen before you can say that you have completed the program. And therefore, it looks like the reality on the ground is that you might have to put in a request and extend the program. So if now you're seeing that as we speak now, the decision is that they are going to work hard, it means that it has to be put at full speed, more of a crash program, the reforms you're supposed to take, which will come with its own shocks to the economy. I don't believe and I don't think that it might be that easy for them if they really want to end the program April 2018.
So what next after this review?
Because this review hasn't been completed because the fourth review, there are certain actions they're supposed to take. Now, the board is supposed to meet somewhere in June. If they are not been able to implement those targets by May, then the fund cannot go to the board. Don't forget that one of the reasons why we went into this program was to more get investor confidence as well. So you don't want to do anything that would send some wrong signals to the market for them to react badly. So what next for us now is that those prior actions you're supposed to put in place, some structural reforms you're supposed to put in place in the financial sector, the banking sector, and the energy sector, we are supposed to do all those things before we can say we have completed the fourth review. And then they make the recommendations to the board, and then we get the IMF cash possibly in July. But that is what is next.
And we'll have more on the IMF deal in the days to come. George Rafi will be in Washington, D.C. for the spring meetings, and we'll be keeping us posted. Moving on now, and the Ghana Chamber of Mines has kicked against calls for licensed artisanal miners to be included in the temporary ban on small-scale mining. According to the Chamber, such extension or that ban to licensed operators may rather be counterproductive in the fight against illegal mining or galamsey. More in this report.
Some stakeholders believe only an extension of the ban to the licensed operators could yield the desired results in the fight against illegal mining. The Small Scale Miners Association has already vowed to resist any such attempts, insisting the certified operations of its members cannot be equated to that of illegal miners. The chief executive of the Chamber of Mines, Sulemanu Koni, also says such a move would not be in the best interest of the country.
If you have licensed a business to run its business and you don't have cause for that particular business to be banned, why do you want to ban it? So a sweeping ban is problematic. I think we have rules and regulations in this country. So you don't want a situation where you have, the operatives who are duly licensed taking government on legally. I think what needs to be done is, like I have said, who are they? Are we really monitoring their activities and actually regulating them the way we should do? And once we do this, I'm sure that they would really come together and do what is expected. But banning it outright, I think, may not be the best for the country, because I know there would be legal ramifications go. Our best bet is to identify the hotspots. Clearly illegal activity, mining on water bodies, on public lands, naturally we would have to, that's where we have to start from.
And that's it for business. There's more news after this break.
You're welcome back. Now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has revealed that the 560 million cedis government is investing in the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative has already gone into the purchase of fertilizer to be distributed to all farmers. Sector Minister Dr. Owusu Akoto disclosed the investment is expected to generate 1.3 billion Ghana cedis for the farmers who are participating. He spoke in an exclusive interview with Joy News' Elton Brobe.
Total budget is 560 million Ghana cedis.
Do we have the money?
Yes, half of which is for the fertilizers, which, as you remember, last week we reduced the price drastically by half. So now all farmers can afford to purchase fertilizers for their farms. And also in terms of the availability of fertilizers, we are supplying the highest amount of fertilizer ever supplied to this country in order to ensure that all farmers, whether within the project, the campaign itself, or outside, who have access to fertilizer, will be able to apply it so that we can increase productivity and create the jobs in so doing. By the way, this 560 million is expected to generate 1.3 billion Ghana cedis of revenue for the farmers who are participating. And don't forget, it's only a pilot scheme. We have nearly 5 million farmers and fishermen in this country, and over the next 4 years, the Akufo-Addo government intends to touch at least half of these numbers. We're talking about a minimum of 2.5 million farmers who are going to be part of this initiative, and we're going to increase their yields. Maize, for instance, which currently is only 2-3 bags per acre, is going to go up to 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 15 bags per acre using improved seed and fertilizer. So that is the scale at which we want to affect agricultural productivity, and in the process increase, do the jobs and create a lot of jobs. We are talking about 750,000 jobs, on-farm jobs this season alone.
Direct
jobs. Direct and indirect jobs under this initiative. And of course, as we expand and increase the number of participants, the farmers participating in the program, we're going to create more jobs. This huge unemployment amongst the youth in this country is going to be cracked by this strategy of focusing on small holdings, giving them the sufficient technology, the know-how, the inputs to increase production, and that is going to lift the economy of this country substantially. So if the Minister of Finance is saying that the city is strengthening, and that is we are hoping that there will be import substitution for our major food crops. He's right, but in addition, to create the facility to export and get the dollars in here to help us with our development.
So after the launch on Wednesday, what will happen next? Farmers, if I want to get on board, what should I do?
Well, the registration is almost at an end for the 200,000 farmers. So you will definitely have to contact your district chief, your district agriculture officer for the registration. We've employed the services of private consultants, ESOCO, to go around the country, take the biometric, the fingerprints of every one of the participating farmers, go with them to their farm plots and measure using GPS to measure get the coordinates of their farm so that we know accurately the acres that a farmer is planting, based on which we give them the seeds and the fertilizer. The seeds are already out in all districts as I speak to you. Coming week, we are going to send out all the fertilizer.
What they are buying?
Oh, they are buying at half, this.
Highly subsidized.
Yeah, highly subsidized. And those who are actually participating in this exercise are actually going to pay only half of the subsidized price for the beginning before they lift their fertilizers and improve seeds. And then after the season, they pay the rest of it either in cash or in kind. The Agricultural Development Bank is working closely with us to do the intermediation of collecting the cash and making sure that the farmers are given the facility for credit for maintenance of their farms, applying weedicides and so on. So the program is actually started. I mean, it's starting, taking off, and the presidential intervention of launching is only formally to recognize that this government is ready for the people of Ghana.
Now, the Forestry Commission has closed down over 300 illegal sawmills in the Goso Forestry District of the Bunuahafu region. Officials have also seized 137 chainsaw machines in renewed onslaught on illegal operators who are destroying major forest reserves in the area. Some of the worst affected are the Subim, Ayom and Bonkuni forest reserves, where officials estimate nearly 140 trees are illegally cut daily. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
We set off our journey on a bumpy road to Asomura, our first stop from Goso, which took us about an hour. The community is within the forest enclave where logging has become the order of the day. District Forest Manager Godfred Koshiga and his team interacted with residents and appealed to leaders to help in the fight against illegal loggers. Nana Kofi Abina is Fantiko Hene.
We have tried to protect the forest reserve for our children. We are tired and cannot do anything anymore. We don't even benefit from it. It is therefore a good thing that the forest authorities are here now.
The journey to the main forest reserve continued, with some of the guards armed. Finally, we are in the reserve where we found many trees had been felled. Mr. Koshiga says the illegal activity is on the rise.
If I want to estimate the damage, I'll be doing perhaps more good than harm, because when you look at the extent at which we have arrested so many trucks and then what it has gone out, I think a vast percentage, the illegal activities in actual fact is on the ascendancy.
A telephone reception is unavailable here. One cannot make or receive calls. Mr. Koshiga explains the reason some of the guards are wielding weapons.
Say you are coming to arrest a chainsaw operator or something. You can't. They beat them up. When you even arrest chainsaw machines, there are some influential people who call you and ask you to release them back to the people. When you're there are trouble for you. At times, my staff are assaulted here and there. You get to the court, even there is nothing done to them. The following day, you see them walking in the town.
The fear is depletion of the forest may negatively affect rainfall pattern in the area. Hence, the Commission's resolve to clamp down on offenders. Armed military and police personnel had been dispatched to Asomora in search of culprits for the law to deal with them. About 29 trucks full load of lumber have also been impounded by forestry officials. Only 6 out of about 400 table sawmills are duly registered to operate in the area. On our way back, we found these illegal table sawmills, which had been closed down, were still in operation. Mr. Koshiga ordered them out immediately or deploy the military to clamp on them.
We are up and doing now. And anybody that we are going to get this time around, we are not going to spare anybody at all, irrespective of anything. And we also plead that the politicians, the chiefs, opinion leaders, and everybody, the media and everybody, please, we need your support. Back us up, and let's make Goso a place to reckon home.
Forests have been described as the lungs of the earth because growing trees take carbon dioxide out of the air and replace it with oxygen, vital for life. According to the current estimates, deforestation is responsible for about 10% of global warming. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
And still to come, Member of Parliament for Kwahu East in the Central Region says he is departing from the practice of alienating constituents after elections by erecting billboards with his contact numbers so he can be in constant touch.
Farmers out there just want to let them know that I'm here for them. I'm here to make a mark. I'm not like other politicians who have come and gone.
Now, often during the campaign season, politicians seeking votes are always accessible and are eager to provide their telephone numbers, all in a bid to obtain the necessary votes to get into office. But once in office, the complaint by the electorate is that they change their numbers and are often inaccessible. But one politician, the Member of Parliament for Kwahu East in the Central Region, says he is departing from that practice usually adopted by his colleagues. Kwahu Easter has erected billboards in his constituency displaying his personal contacts and urging his constituents to reach him whenever they encounter challenges. Correspondent Richard Kwejunyako traveled to Kwahu East constituency to interact with the MP and his constituents.
Kwahu East constituency lies along the Accra-Winneba Highway. This constituency has become very popular lately. And the simple reason can be found on this imposing billboard that I stand beneath. It is not just an ordinary billboard showing who their MP is. This billboard displays 2 mobile phone numbers of the Member of Parliament for the area, Kwahu Easter, urging constituents to call him anytime they need him. This time he is urging the constituents to call him. He will be available to them 24 hours 7, and that is why he's erected this billboard. So is it weird, strange, or a simple novelty? Because we know that the demand that comes with the work of the Member of Parliament is very huge. So how does he combine being a Member of Parliament to this arduous task of picking the phone calls of his constituents? What does he seek to achieve? I have the Member of Parliament himself, Kwahu Easter, here.
Putting my numbers out there, just want to let them know that I'm here for them. I'm here to make a mark. I'm not like other politicians who have come and gone. And I think that I'm getting very positive feedback from it too.
Ever since you erected this billboard, how many calls do come to you?
I receive a lot of calls, about on average 50 calls a day. 50 calls a day. It ranges from requests for school fees, requests for somebody will even say his house is ripped off and that they need roofing on the house, and some of them you need to direct them to the necessary authorities like NADMO. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that is happening in my constituency that I do not know about. I'm on top of and I'm satisfied about that, because I believe that if I'm representing a group of people and I know what is happening every day, it's a good thing for me.
So how do you intend combining this difficult job of an MP to picking calls from your constituent? I mean, how would you do that?
The truth is that I don't pick the calls myself every day. Anytime I have the opportunity, I pick the calls myself. But if I'm in a meeting or we are in the chambers or I'm doing something, some of the people around me pick the calls. But I make sure I return the calls as soon as possible.
Some of the issues they bring to you, are they all monetary, or some of them they need guidance and counseling?
80% of them are not monetary. Some people want nursing training college and they bring their form, they bring their result. You look at them, you see that this is a D7, this is an A for what? So you can't enter nursing training college with it. You admonish the people, especially the youth. At that age, they are at a crossroad. They need somebody to guide them, to show them direction. I know the things that if I do, I'll lose the seats. I have them all written down. And key, topmost, is the fact that they want to see you, they want to hear from you. So 2 important things. I'm not ever going to stay, and luckily enough, my constituency is just close to Accra. I'm never ever going to stay in Accra. I can't do it through Facebook because a lot of them don't have access to Facebook, a lot of them don't have access to other social media. So the phone is one key, and 80% of the people in my constituency have mobile phones.
Let's look at what some of the constituents are saying about this novelty or this idea.
Oh, Papa. If you are watching Obochobukon, you have more Parliament, what you are by you, I didn't build. In fact, it's a kind of quarter by if you are watching. I ran to meet me, my Hunada. 1 hour, and Papa Pump, baby, walk away.
Especially men among Crawford, should be an autumn or your man. Both drivers are 100. They be a friend, be original paper. Sometimes in Pussy, a friend as a son can I. You told me the Canadian in Pakran. Your friend another, a panacho, a MP Casa, how until you pass to Mama. By about 10-15 minutes, no, not as our friend there. Yeah, how you then? I can't tell you. You who the MP, the billboard, the telephone number, good, our friend, out to second. somebody like me too, you need WhatsApp. No, normally to me in WhatsApp. I reply him all the time.
Now it's Easter, a time when Christians reflect soberly on the death of Jesus Christ. It's also an opportunity for others to engage in leisure activities, and one area that most Ghanaians will be heading to is Kwahu in the eastern region. The town has become popular for Easter festivities, with activities such as paragliding, which is well patronized. However, revelers have complained about the poor nature of the road that links the Kwahu township to the paragliding site. Tourism Minister Catherine Afeku is promising it will be fixed. She said the Akufo-Addo administration has put in place measures to make transportation to the area more reliable and comfortable.
The activities has always been the same, and the good news is with the new administration under the leadership of President Akufo-Addo, we intend to add more value to the legacy of Jake Obechebi Otanka Lamte and Ferdinand Ayim. The first most significant thing is road. Surfacing of the road leading to this destination leaves a lot to be desired, and the regional minister, in collaboration with GTA and the roads minister, have just done some small dressing, but they have assured me that we will have bitumen by this time next year. And not only bitumen, we hope to expand access so we can have bike path and add more enhancement to the paragliding. The second significant thing is one of the pilots, Blake Pelton, promising and assuring the good people and the citizen of Ghana that he would help the ministry establish a training school for paragliding in Ghana. And I think it's a huge legacy for the President of the Republic that this, under his tenure and in memory of Jake Obechebi Lamte, we would get a paragliding training school so there will be more Ghanaians who will take up the flying lessons and boost tourism.
What do you have to show as a ministry in 100 days in office? We just about 3 months or so when your government took the mandate. What do you have to show as a ministry?
Immediately, because it's a ministry that has what we call intangible assets, but immediately what you can put your finger on is the granting of access to a contractor to start the Marine Drive project. It's been on the drawing board for 60 years, and just yesterday the whole rituals, traditional rites performance occurred in the city of Accra at the Accra Huts of Folk Park, with all the traditional authorities in the Ghanland coming together for the first time to agree that it's time for this development to start. So just yesterday that took part. For me, that is the single most significant historical achievement of the ministry. Not only will it create jobs, it fits in the manifesto of building more competitive hotels to boost the tourism and arts industry. There will be amphitheaters, conference facilities, and a lot to showcase our arts and cultural offerings for the nation.
Thank you very much for your time.
Well, Joy News also spoke to the first Ghanaian paragliding pilot, who says government must invest more in the sector.
And I'm an adventurous person, so it's more, it becomes easier for me to fly than to think of any other thing to do. So that's why I went into paragliding.
How long have you been in the business?
So being a pilot is the 3rd year, but been flying for like the last 9 years as a tandem pilot, as a solo on a tandem flight. Sorry.
Do you see any potential or future for the paragliding event in Ghana?
Yes, there are a lot of potentials in the business. All that I think that we have to do is to invest more into the business and give more people opportunity and train more pilots. We'll get there.
Does it fetch? Is it worth?
One thing I said to someone that if you have the mind of, oh, I'm coming to do this thing to make money, your goal might not be met. If you understand the thing and the passion of it, and you learn and you fly out of passion, when you enjoy what you do, that's when money comes. If you don't enjoy it and you want to, you make anything out of it, because it's more or less like your aim is like, let me go and learn giddy and come and fly people, which is not the best thing to do. But there's potential if people are trained. You know, we started it for like 10 years now. If like for the last 5 years we start training people and they are interested and they are flying and there are competitions and things like that, people are like bettering themselves and things like that. As you get to a time, you feel comfortable flying any other person. So learning the trade is the first thing that we need to do.
Now, a mix of shock, fear and sorrow sums up the mood of residents of Nwenuso No. 1 in the Ashanti region, where a woman mysteriously burnt to death. 67-year-old Yadonko's clothes reportedly caught fire when she was being anointed with oil in a healing process. She died 3 days later while on admission at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. Police at Fuase in the Kwahu district are investigating the bizarre incident. Kwesi Deborah reports.
Fuase District Police Commander DSP Kwahu Easter, who confirmed the incident to Joy News, says the deceased went to see the pastor on return from her farm. She had complained of waist pain, for which she sought healing from Isgredu of Bethel Church in his home. DSP Mensah indicates the pastor reportedly gave the woman an egg to rub her waist. Madame Donko insisted on buying another egg, but Isgredu opted to use anointing oil. In the process of rubbing the anointing oil on the deceased's waist, it sparked fire and burnt the upper part of her body. The pastor and his in-law, who were present, rushed Yadonko to Fuase Government Hospital, from where she was transferred to Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. She died 3 days after she was admitted.
I'm the
assemblyman for the area and the grandson of the deceased. When she returned from farm, she was complaining of her waist and told us she's going for medicine. She then went to this pastor, who happens to be a relative. He was praying for her with an anointing oil when she was suddenly consumed by fire. She's my grandmother. Only a small part of the attire got burnt, but her entire upper body was burnt. The pastor, upon hearing her death, went into hiding, but turned himself in following arrest of his in-law. The body has been deposited at the morgue, awaiting autopsy. Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.